I have become not only a patient, but someone who really believes in this therapy.
One of the things that I really love and am really excited about for Americans is the mindset shift of getting into more preventative health, but also shifting from what your traditional doctors are telling you. Surgery and drugs are not always the first option.
Why are we not helping patients to not get sick? Why are we waiting that they get sick so that then we prescribe? And we're only prescribing to treat symptoms, but not really to address the cause.
Our industry is being dramatically slowed down by lobbyists that are making hundreds of millions of dollars to lobby against regenerative medicine.
There's a threat.
It is a threat. We will dent the pipeline of pharmaceutical companies.
I broke my neck in Afghanistan in 2006. Had tons of headaches almost daily for years, and nothing solved it. And then I came down here, did a spinal tap, never had headaches.
Stem cells, they are the cells that we have in our body that help us regenerate. All the tissues and all the cells are coming from the stem cells.
But the truth is that people perpetuating that lie are people that don't want regenerative medicine to succeed. It's been in the news that way for 20 years. It's not that the people in the news media are misinformed. They just are lying.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Resilient Show. And if you're watching, you'll see that I'm not in the Resilient studio. I'm actually in Medellín, Colombia at the BioXcellerator headquarters, and they have their own podcast facility here. I came here for my third time to get stem cell treatment and to actually talk about BioXcellerator with our guest here. With me today is Eric Stoffers, who's the CEO and founder of BioXcellerator, and sitting next to him is Dr. Karolynn Halpert, who's the chief medical officer and co-founder of BioXcellerator. So welcome. Well, I guess welcome to me.
Yeah. Welcome to our facility. Yeah.
Yes, but welcome to the show.
Yeah. I'm pumped. We're obviously, friendly even outside of the clinic. We've spent some time together. You've been so gracious to be an advocate, but I'm pumped to be on the show because I'm also a fan. I listen to your show probably every episode, so I'm glad to be here.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, yeah, I guess I did mention that, man, for like the last 3 years, Eric and I have become close friends and even came with me to the presidential inauguration.
That was amazing. That was a cool experience. That was the first time I've been invited and it was great.
Yeah, we had a good.
Yeah, I'm so blessed that you did that for me.
We have an epic picture. They could drop it in there. Myself and Eric.
Yes.
The CEO and vice president of Smith & Wesson.
Yeah.
Mark Smith and Kyle Tingle. We were all about to do our pictures for the ball. We're about to do these pictures and we're sitting there, but the photographer had a fur coat laying on his chair, and into this chair was like a velvet. And I'm like, oh, we have to get like this mafia picture where I like throw this fur coat over my shoulders, and they stood next to me, and we dubbed in a Smith & Wesson gun.
Yeah, so we were like all standing around him, and he had this mink coat on. He looked like a sultan or a king of some sort. It was really kind of cool.
I would say one of the first things that I hear about as I talk to people about Colombia is people are like, "Is it safe?" And I'll let you guys speak on it, but for me, this is quickly become one of my favorite cities to visit in the world. I've been all over the world, and I love Medellín. The food's great. I've going all over the world. One of the things to look at is the culture and how people interact, not just with me as a guest, but with each other. And I've never seen like a more kind place. Like people, you walk in the elevator, everyone says hello. The person exits the elevator, everyone says goodbye. It's
beautiful.
Yeah, and the food's amazing.
When you are the darkest place in the world, couple of years ago, 30, 40 years ago, the potential of light, for transformation for light is bigger. So
embrace it.
I grew up, I was born and raised here in Medellín. I had to live and grew up in all this violence that we had here in Medellín. So I think that we are very proud of what we have been able to accomplish, all the transformation, changing violence for culture, changing violence for art, for dance. So actually Medellín, I think it's an amazing place because of this transformation, and we have been able to become the most innovative city, and we have had certifications and some recognitions of the most innovative city in the world. So yeah, it's very nice to see.
And you guys beat out other cities like Dubai and Tokyo and Singapore.
Yes.
For being one of the most innovative cities. Yeah, but to your point, it's little things like that you notice when you get in the elevator. Because in America, if you got in an elevator and somebody was like, "Hey, how you doing today?" And then they were like, "Bye, have a good day. Hope to see you later." You'd be like, "That guy's weird."
Yeah.
That creep.
But not only that, the weather, like I think is like the average temperature is 71 degrees year round.
Yeah, it's perfect.
It's perfect.
It's absolutely perfect. I mean, I'm from Scottsdale, and so anything is cooler, in the summertime. 100 degrees is cooler than, being in Scottsdale. But that's one of the reasons that I kind of call this home now, is it's literally like 72 to like 75 degrees all year round. It's amazing.
Yeah. So, I mean, just growing up here, what was it like? I know you briefly mentioned, but what was it like growing up?
Super tough because, for example, I remember that we just couldn't go out. There was I don't know how you say it in English, but the city was shut down after 8.
Like curfew.
Curfew, so you just couldn't go out. There was not a lot of nightlife. For example, if you were in the street and there was a red light, here is allowed to go through the red light after it was allowed after specific hour. So, for example, 10 p.m., 12 a.m., you just don't stay there to the red light to change. It was super dangerous. You can continue and
so you
not
just
stop.
Run red lights because so you don't get robbed.
Safety. It was like that. So yeah, it was very hard. We just couldn't go out. Was a lot of violence. There was a lot of bombs. There was a lot of killing and kidnapping, and so we actually grew up knowing how to take care of each other, like how to protect and how to behave, where to go, where not to go, who to talk to, who not to talk to. For example, I remember that I was in France. I did some 6 months in medicine in France, and I remember that I was walking down the walking
path or sidewalk,
the sidewalk, and I remember that I was all the time checking. And it was like automatic. I didn't realize. So my friend said, like, why are you all the time looking and why are you changing to the other street when you see people coming? And I was like, normal. That's natural. I'm taking care of myself because I need to know if there's someone after me, pursuing me, or if you're coming on front, I cross the street. So we grew up knowing all of that. And he goes like, you don't have to do that here. And I said, I just didn't know that I was doing that. I was always looking behind and I was always crossing the street when I saw someone coming in front. So, it wasn't easy.
When did it change?
I see a big transformation 20, 30 years ago, but the biggest transformation it has been like 10 years ago that we have started seeing a lot of tourism, a lot of foreigners coming to Medellín, which we are super proud about, which we are like, wow, there's so many foreigners in Medellín. This is amazing. We feel proud. We feel happy. We feel like, oh, this is now becoming a welcoming city. And now they're being able to see and to get to know us when some before who was going to Medellín.
Nobody. Not even just not Americans or Europeans, but it wasn't even people in South America. Nobody wanted to
couldn't go outside the street.
Yes.
So no, I think that it changed a lot when Pablo Escobar got killed. And then with all the fight against the narco and the mafia, it just big transformation. Now it's a super safe city. Beautiful weather, beautiful city, beautiful people, super kind.
There's a lot to do.
There's a lot of outdoor activities and nature, and experience of the coffee tour, the flower festival. So we have many good things to show from Medellín.
Have you been here in August at all?
No, not.
So the flower festival that she was talking about is, I mean, it's beautiful. There's just fresh flowers everywhere and like floats, kind of like what is the Rose Bowl parade? So there's just stuff like that is everywhere. But what I learned is that Colombia imports 80% of the United States flowers.
Exports.
They export and we import 80% of the flowers that you see sold at the grocery store or at a flower shop, or they're from Colombia.
Wow.
Yeah. But but to follow what Karolyn is saying is that, it's one of those cities that's magical, but it's also the people that you were talking about. It's the culture of really, really welcoming people. But it's crazy to me that something that you said, where the first thing that us as Americans think when people say to us when we're going to go to Colombia, they go, oh, wow, you're crazy. Is it violent? But these are the same people that live in South Chicago, or they'll go to Tijuana, no problem. You're like, have you watched the news?
I've been to over 60 countries and been I think all but one state, and I feel completely safe. Not only to be here, but I would even bring my family here.
Yeah,
and I had brought Kathy here, and so I think I was up here and she went out and went shopping and by herself, and I think you see people going out exercising, jogging. It's a very active city, and it's super accessible. Like I live in Houston, and so it's a direct flight, and it's only 3.5 hours. Three hours.
I think it's 4.
4 hours direct to Medellín. Yeah,
but it's only three and a half from Miami. Same, direct.
Super accessible.
Yeah. It's people have this stigma that the people that have not been here think, oh no, that's another continent. That's all the way in South America. Yeah, but it's only 3 hours from Miami.
Yeah.
So
not a tough trip at all. So what made you, like, growing up like that? What gave you the desire to become a doctor?
It was clear for me. I always wanted to be a doctor. It's like I knew. I come from a family of doctors. My dad was a pediatrician. My mom was a gynecologist. So I grew up in hospitals and clinics and going with them to their shifts. So it's something that I just knew that I wanted to heal and to help.
It would take you to the work, like take your daughter to work day. I've never heard about that.
Listen to this. So, as my mom being a gynecologist, my dad being the pediatrician, my mom was getting calls at 2, 3, 4 a.m. Like, okay, there's a mom in labor, come to the hospital. So at that time, it was my sister, me, and my little brother, and they didn't leave us with someone at home because it was very dangerous at that time. So it was always my dad taking my mom to the hospital. They could not leave us by ourselves at home. So they grab us from our bed, sleeping. They put us into the car, sleeping, the three of us in the back, sleeping. And we all went to the hospital to be with my mom while she was working. And even that my dad was not like the pediatrician, it was not going to be the pediatrician of that kid that was going to be born. My dad, he just loved to be there with my mom, and he was always helping my mom. She received the baby, and then it was my dad doing his part. So it became like a family work. And when they got us down from the car, they were taking us to the doctor's rooms to rest. So they were putting us there. We continued sleeping, and then back home again, sleeping in the car, and then sleeping in our beds. And that happened for 3 or 5 years, I guess. So I remember playing in the hospitals with the nurses in the nurse stations, while my dad was seeing the patients, or my mom, and me and my sister, we were playing with syringe and water and saline, and the nurses let us play. My sister is a doctor too. So, so it stayed in us. Yeah.
So all this, fast forward to now, you're the, chief medical officer at BioXcellerator, which is the, leading, stem cell clinic in the world and in regenerative medicine. Like, why that field? Why'd you pursue? There's tons of different things you could do in medicine. Why stem cells?
So I'm an emergency physician, but I also did other studies, degrees and masters in health administration and management of hospitals and clinics. So when Eric decided to open BioXcellerator in Colombia, and then he chose Medellín, he hired a headhunter company, and they found me. I was the emergency director of an emergency room here in Medellín for 10 years. I had an interesting profile of having assistential and a lot of medical practice, and the admin part, which is like a very good combination. So they proposed me okay, do you want to open a clinic, and do you want to be the medical director? And I said, doing what? Doing stem cells and regenerative medicine. And I said, okay, that sounds very interesting, very advanced, very innovation. I like a lot of innovation, super different of what I study for. So it just said wow, this is amazing, an amazing opportunity. This is an amazing challenge that I want to take. And I just didn't have to think a lot about it. I just made the decision and shift all my professional career. what I saw at that time is that, for example, ER, you are really like having the opportunity to help the people that are having like an emergency. So you're not really there like only for prescription or only for surgery. You're really having like a chance that what you do at that time, at that moment, a good decision is going to be a life-changing situation for a patient. So it was a field that I was feeling very comfortable, that I was feeling that really I was helping. And I'm saying this is because actually in the doctor's office or with other specialties as internal medicine and others, we got educated only to prescribe. And I think that should not be only medicine. I think that we're missing the bigger picture, that it's prevention. Why are we not helping patients to not get sick? Why are we waiting that they get sick so that then we prescribe? And we're only prescribing to treat symptoms, but not really to address the cause. But we have to go to the beginning. Why we don't have to address causes if we are addressing everything that we can do to prevent that person to get sick.
This is so important. I mean, this topic is so important that, that especially in, I know you're in Colombia and the American medical system seems very much to be, pharmaceuticals, medicals, but not actually doing preventive medicine and making people healthy or addressing root causes. It's just addressing symptoms and dealing with the problem once it arises. But if someone has diabetes, they're not going to ask them about their diet. They're not going to.
It's crazy. That should be the first thing that they ask.
First thing, right? They're gonna put them on insulin, and give them medication instead of just saying, "Hey, how about make some lifestyle changes?" And
Totally.
Yeah.
to me, this is like, I think doctors take an oath to make people healthy, and I think it's against the oath that doctors take.
Well, it's to do no harm also, and really they're doing harm on all sorts of levels. But
they didn't teach us what they should teach. The change have to come from universities. We have to start getting education on diet and nutrition, on exercise, and all the things in lifestyle that are going to be keeping you healthy. But I never got a class in nutrition. I don't remember going through 15 years in med school and no one taught me what should I recommend a patient to eat.
Isn't that crazy? 15 years in med school, and can I elaborate on her history? Not that it's my place to do that, but going back to when I was looking for a partner, I knew that I was going to have a business partner.
Why'd you come here? Why'd you pick Medellín? Why her?
Let me start with why her, because I'm on that tangent, and because the other one is a little bit different. But when I was talking to the headhunters, and I've told her this and we kind of joke about it, there was one thing that I said that was very important, and I laugh and I say I was looking for somebody crazy. That's just a joke I have with her, but and I didn't say that. To the headhunter I said, look, this is going to be a partner. This is going to be somebody that, as she mentioned, has to have maybe an entrepreneurial spirit, some business acumen, because not all doctors have that. So that was important, as she mentioned. But really the part that I joke about when I say crazy is I needed somebody that was going to go against traditional medicine, probably be able to go against what her colleagues were telling her, her or him at the time. I didn't know who it was going to be, but going against the traditional medical system in the way that it was designed. And then also, be kind of a fighter, because we are pioneering an industry. There was, Dr. Reardon was before us and maybe a few others, but really we're one of the pioneers of this industry, and it's very difficult. You have to be a fighter. So that's what I found.
I want to add something about that. My dad, being a pediatrician, 40 years ago, he was pediatrician, but also he was in alternative medicine. He was doing bioenergetics. And he was doing the combination of pediatrician and alternative medicine in a clinic here in Medellín. And they told him at that time, you have to stop doing alternative medicine or you're going to get kicked out of the hospital, and you can only do pediatrician. So he was a fighter. He opened the pathway. He had to open the pathway to alternative medicine 40 years ago, when no one knew about it, when no one thought that it was real, that it worked, that it actually has a lot of science to support it. So I see that I'm actually following like his steps. He did it for alternative medicine, and I'm doing it for regenerative medicine. And I see that all the difficulties and obstacles that he found are kind of the same because, for example, in the university that I study, the previous director, when I approached them like, hey, can we do some research together, BioXcellerator in the university that I study in, the director said like, no, we're not going to do anything with her because she's a shaman.
With a witch doctor.
A witch doctor. And I remember that's what they call my dad. You are a witch doctor. You cannot do alternative medicine in the hospital. So he left and he started continue doing alternative medicine and pediatrics in his doctor's office. So I think that I bring the strength of my dad.
Yeah.
By the way, these are the same type of universities and other clinicians and doctors that are now knocking on our door saying, wow, we were wrong.
But, and I mean, and we'll get into this later, but a lot of these universities are funded by big pharmaceutical insurance companies.
In the U.S.
In the U.S., yeah, not here.
There's a conflict of interest in their agenda of what they're teaching as well, because I mean, the pharmaceutical companies aren't going to be, funding these universities to talk about something that would not sell pharmaceuticals.
It's the exact opposite.
Right.
Yeah, they teach medicine in the way that only helps their pipeline.
Yeah.
But this is also one of the reasons that I opened up the clinic here, because the system here is not corrupted or compromised by the pharmaceutical and the insurance. Yeah. It's a very different system.
I definitely want to get into that, and we will. The FDA, what the regulations are, why the regulations exist. Is there this conspiracy of are they preventing Americans from getting this type of treatment? And you look around, like behind us. I don't know how the camera's capturing this, but this is a representation of who's been here. You have Tony Hawk, the world-renowned skateboarder. You have Chuck Liddell, Chris Cyborg, Rampage Jackson, the Bellator champion. I think you guys have had 10 UFC champions or so.
Oh, it might even be more. Oh. Yeah, much more than that. Yeah, those are just the guys that are gracious on their Instagram or their social media. We've had a lot of guys that are just kind of undercover. So yeah, there's not many people that have had a belt that we haven't treated. There's nobody. Oh yeah, there's nobody that treats more UFC fighters than us. Yeah. I know the other clinic, pays for the partnership, but they come here.
Yeah, I mean, I know because Mick Maynard, who's the vice president of the UFC.
Yep,
is a good friend of mine. He's been down here. Yeah, Goldberg.
Goldberg. He just did a nice. He on his retirement match. This is last week. He credits us for getting back in the ring. T.J. Dillashaw. The mask was Rey Mysterio. He did a BioXcellerator mask for Dr. Halpert, actually.
That's my mask. I share it to the podcast.
You get the Ramones on this side. You get lots of this. Every time I come down here, there's always NFL players too.
Yeah, we have a lot of NFL players here. This is, stem cell therapy is great for orthopedic issues, but it's also a BioXcellerator. Specifically, we've pioneered something that is specifically for high impact athletes. So you see a lot of NFL players and UFC fighters and even boxers that come down here for the intrathecal
prevention. So it's important.
But we're also helping with the potential treatment of CTE. It's not technically a treatment for CTE because it's not diagnosed, until postmortem. But there's the symptoms of CTE mimic things like traumatic brain injury, and so I think we're the only clinic in the world that has an answer for that.
What's some other things? So I think when people think stem cell, they think orthopedic. There's other things too, like.
If I put it into three buckets, and obviously Dr. Halpert will go much deeper into the question, but if I put it into three major buckets, it's autoimmune disease, orthopedic issues, and then neurological conditions. And, that the neurological conditions also include things like spinal cord injury.
One of the things that prompted me to come down here was I broke my neck in Afghanistan in 2006, had tons of headaches. I pumped almost daily for years, and nothing solved it. And then I came down here and did a spinal tap. I don't know if this is the right terminology. And never had a headache.
Oh, really?
I had not had
that's great.
Oh, I didn't remember that. That's amazing.
It's because of how the cells work that they release the secretome, and what the secretome is going to be addressing is neuroinflammation. So even that, as he says, that is a postmortem diagnosis, what we know that is going on is neuroinflammation as in TBI, as in stroke, as in any other neurological, neurodegenerative diseases also. Mm-hmm. It's cutting the neuroinflammation. That's how it works.
So that was a neurological treatment.
Yep.
Then I did tons of orthopedic. I think you guys have done almost every joint in my body.
Nice.
And I didn't even realize how hurt I was until after my treatment, because I think I didn't realize how accustomed I'd become to just functioning hurt. And so just feeling that relief, I felt like I lost years off of my, went down in years of aging on my body. And I feel amazing. Like I will be here no matter what, moving forward for the rest of my life. Cause it's that impactful for me. But I was so limited on certain things. And I would even doing jiu-jitsu, I would like modify my abilities. I would grapple differently to protect injuries, and to have those things freed up for me is, not only it helps my jiu-jitsu, but it's my overall quality of life, traveling, just the lack of pain and inflammation in my body. It's just been an absolute amazing personal experience for me. One of the things, and I could rave on my own testimony with this place, but one of the things I want to ask just right off, because not everybody listening knows what stem cells are. So can you tell us what stem cells actually are? What is a stem cell? What does it do in the human body?
Yeah, okay. So stem cells, they are the cells that we have in our body that help us regenerate. And basically, all the tissues and all the cells are coming from the stem cells. When they are in this naive state, that then they start differentiating and becoming another cell. So in stem cell, there are several sources where you can find stem cells. There are many sources, but the main ones is the perinatal tissues, that is the placenta, the amnion, the umbilical cord, or the umbilical blood. There are also the stem cells that you can get from the adipose tissue, that is the fat, and from the bone marrow.
And you can get it from yourself.
Yes. So you can get it, you can get your fat out, you can get it a centrifuge and a process, enzymatic process, and then you can start culturing and expanding those cells to get a bigger number of cells to apply back. The thing with the difference between perinatal stem cells that come from perinatal tissues is that they are considered adult cells. So they are not embryonic, they're not fetal, they are adults but are coming from a tissue that is just from a born baby. So they are like super young, being adults. With embryonic and fetal, if there's ethical issues, and of course they're more potent, but there's still risk of developing a cancer because they can become in any type of cells. With adult cells, they cannot become any type of cell. So with this ones, it's safer. It's safer, and it doesn't have ethical issues because it's actually coming from a discharge.
Let's talk about the ethical, because that's a big question I get a lot. Probably gets a circle, man.
People confuse embryonic, fetal, and from umbilical cord. Umbilical cord is the tissue that is discharged after the baby has been born. And that tissue has a lot of cells and a lot of good properties that can be used to develop biomedical products or
But the ethical piece is that that's medical waste. So typically it was just thrown away. But this is an umbilical cord that has a healthy mom and a healthy baby that go home and live healthy lives together. So there's no ethical.
Essentially donated it.
Totally. Yeah. And, we can get into some of the processes that we take above and beyond. But that's the point, is that this is not taking an umbilical cord, where the mom doesn't know about it, or it's not taking aborted fetuses.
Yeah. No,
that's the ethical concern that people have in their mind. That is not even.
Me too. I did. That was one of the things. I think it was one of the first things I asked you.
It was. All right. Yeah.
There's a lot of regulation with management handling of tissues, because it can be considered like it's a tissue, so it goes into that they're not doing like black market with organs and tissues.
Sure.
So it's actually very regulated. To be able to collect a cord, it can only be on donation. There cannot be profit or pay the hospital or pay the doctor or pay the patient. It's only under donation, and it's under consents that have been approved by ethic committees.
But the truth is that people perpetuating that lie are people that don't want regenerative medicine to succeed. So without the conspiracy, that's who's pushing it.
Propaganda.
It's propaganda. It's still in the news. It's been in the news that way for 20 years. it's not that the people in the news media are misinformed. They just are lying. I hate to say it. They know better.
Sure.
There's so much evidence out there that no company like ours, no ethical company is using aborted fetuses or anything other than the most ethical sourcing.
Yeah. So I'll give my layman's terms. I could be totally wrong, and you could tell me if I am. But the way I understand stem cells to work is like if I get a cut on my leg, then my body sends stem cells there to heal it. But the stem cells that they're sending are 49-year-old stem cells, and they're not as many and they're not as potent. And that's why I'd want to.
So as you say, as we age, we lose the number of stem cells that we have available to heal and to stimulate regeneration in our bodies. But also, not only they decrease in number, they decrease in potency. So stem cells, to apply stem cells, is how they work is that they release the secretome. So they release a lot of proteins and a lot of anti-inflammatory cytokines that are going to be stimulating in your body pathways of anti-inflammation, antioxidation, antifibrosis, angiogenesis, that is the stimulus to create new blood vessels. And it's all the things that as messengers, they act like messengers. They're going to tell our body, stimulate our body to heal itself, to stimulate all those pathways of controlling inflammation, modulating the immune system, and stimulating regeneration. And so it's not that in their body they become a cell. That's why it makes it super safe, because if I put stem cells on the patient, the cells are not going to become any other type of cells or get implanted into the organs and tissues of the patient. They're just going to circulate. They're going to release all of these messengers, and they're going to disappear into 6 to 8 weeks. So that's makes it super, super safe to use.
And when you're introducing the umbilical stem cell, this is the fountain, like the fountain of youth. It's the most potent stem cell.
It's the most potent and safe stem cell. It is.
Because it's coming, I mean, it said spark of life.
Yes.
And a baby goes from.
It's a baby that has not been exposed to nutrition, contamination, environmental toxin, and diseases and exposures. So it's a very healthy tissue that is our own cells have been exposed to a lot of inflammation, to what we eat, how we live, if we are sedentary. So if patients are getting stem cells from their own stem cells, they're not getting the best source.
And think about how quickly you healed when you were a youngster. You know, you're out there playing around, you sprain your ankle, you walk it off, you're probably back in the game right away.
Yeah.
Maybe the next day, you know, but now as a 48, 49-year-old, you sprain your ankle, that's a month, 2, 3, you know, who knows how long it's going to take for your stem cells to get to work. So we just take those most pure potent cells, but then we also scientifically manipulate those and multiply those to be hundreds of times more potent.
Yeah. Well, not all of us are 49 and 48. We have some of us that are minus 20 years because you have reversed your age by 20 years. How do you reverse your age by 20 years, or your biological age?
So it was a surprise for me to see that result. I really was not expecting that result. I took this test just to see where I was. The test is glycan age. So it's a very specific that it's measuring the glycans. So it's not an epigenetic test. It's actually measuring the glycans. And it came out that I'm 20 years younger. And I think that is what do I do? I take care of myself. I do sports. I take care of what I eat. But I'm doing like at least 2 or 3 times per year. I'm doing ozone. I'm doing hyperbaric. I'm doing IV drips. And of course, I do stem cells. Mm-hmm. I apply stem cells every year, IV, in my face and in my hair. Mm-hmm. So I think that is all that combination that optimize and that it reduces inflammation in my body, and glycans is associated with inflammation. So the less inflammation you have in your body, the less you age, and the healthier you are. So it's addressing inflammation.
The owners of that company, or maybe she was just one of the physicians at that company, got on the phone with us, and because my test came back the same, and she said, "What the heck are you guys doing?
What are you doing?
Oh my gosh, I've never seen results like this." And I'm in the same boat as her. I do ozone therapy, but mostly just stem cell therapy. I do ozone and stem cell therapy.
How often do you do your
well, really just once a year. I do one pretty large IV bag once a year. I do the ozone therapy much more often, every couple of months. I like to do it more.
Therapy is just you're recycling your blood, right? And you're
Not really. You're adding the O3 molecule to your blood.
Okay.
So you do take the blood out. It's this beautiful process where you're taking the blood out. You see on the first pass, it comes out and it looks thick and black and
sludge. I remember mine looked like sludge, and then it comes back as like fresh
exactly.
red blood.
Yeah. So after the next one or two passes, it starts looking like fire engine red, and it just looks healthier. So she can go deeper into the specifics, but it's adding the O3 molecule mostly.
Is basically how it works is addressing inflammation and modulating the immune system. So, for example, as we know that low chronic inflammation is what makes us age and makes us get sick. So all of us have low chronic inflammation, but we don't know and we're not addressing. And then in 10 or 20 years, you are in the risk to develop cardiovascular disease, hypertension, neurological diseases like dementia. So it's actually, we have all this period of time of 10 to 20 years before a disease appears to address chronic inflammation. So that's why we're working on a protocol that we are developing from the scientific team that is inflammaging. Inflammaging means that how much inflammation do we have in our body is making us age. So the protocol is going to be for stem cells and how stem cells, they work in cutting that chronic inflammation and how that way we can be preventive chronic diseases to appear, but also slow down the process of aging.
If you haven't done, well, you have done the ozone, but say the ozone, stacking that on with stem cells, and same thing goes with a lot of our other supportive therapies. Yeah. I mean, they're very good and have medicinal benefits on their own, but stacked along with stem cell, they're kind of a supercharger to the stem cell.
Hyperbaric here.
Yep. Ozone therapy, cryotherapy.
What about exosomes? What are exosomes and
exosomes? It's an extracellular vesicle that's secreted by the stem cell. Again, the benefit of having a brilliant medical officer here with us, she'll go deeper into the science part of it. But it's something that we're seeing in the marketplace a lot. We're starting to see it a lot in the United States. And very much like stem cells, there's a lot of variations. So, I would warn consumers that you should go a little bit deeper than just purchasing an exosome and find out, more specifics about where it came from, what mechanisms or characteristics it has. But specifically what we're using it for is targeting mostly orthopedic issues. We're using it for many other conditions, also neurological and autoimmune disease. But what we've seen is an incredible early results with the combination of exosomes and stem cells together, specifically with orthopedic issues. But yet she can go deeper into the specifics. So
the exosomes, they come of what the cells are releasing while they're being cultured in the culture media. So we collect the culture media, we do a purification, an ultracentrifugation process to be able to get the exosomes that are vesicles that has a specific size to be able to call that is an exosome. So in that purification, at the end, you're only going to have exosomes of that size. What you have to be very careful is that companies are saying that they're selling exosomes when they're actually not selling exosomes. They're getting that culture media, they're not centrifuging, or they're not purifying, or they're not classifying, and they're just putting the culture media there. And that culture media is called conditioned media. So from the culture media, you have the most basic one without any type of process, that is conditioned media. Then when you do some preliminary centrifugation, you can have the secretum, that is a mixture of proteins. Mm-hmm. And then if you do ultracentrifugation, then you can have exosomes. So there's conditioned media, secretum, and exosomes that are very good products, but people should be honest on what they're saying, if it's really exosomes, if it's being secretum, or if it's being conditioned media that you're selling. And the three of them, they work, but they are specific for specific things. It's not all of them for all. No.
Right. And this kind of brings me to something that everyone's wondering, and I want to dive into is what's different here. And what's different from one clinic to the next. I oftentimes, I've been promoting, BioXcellerator to a lot of my network because I'm such a believer. But previous to coming here, I had stem cell therapy in the United States. And for me, I was even wondering, like, is this placebo? Did it work? Did nothing work? And to me, like, at this point in my life, I'm like, if I have to ask and wonder if it worked, then it probably didn't work. And so there's so many people in jiu-jitsu and the military that claim they're getting stem cell therapy in the States. And so when I proposed BioXcellerator's option to them, they're like, why would I go all the way to Colombia? I could just go to Houston or Austin or whatever cities in their area and go get stem cell there. And there are some very clear differences in
huge
what you've done here.
Yeah, huge differences.
So what is the difference?
Well, so let me start, and obviously you can chime in with it's technical part of it, but at this point, just to simplify, I would not waste my money. If you were my friend or family, I would not allow you to do stem cell therapy at most clinics in the United States. Like 99.
And just knowing you're not saying that as a competitor.
No.
You're saying that, yeah.
We have more patients than we can deal with, and we'll never have enough BioX locations to treat everybody that needs stem cells. So,
but there's a reason people of influence and means, UFC fighters, and there's a reason they're coming here.
Yeah, these guys, to your point, they the professional athletes and the celebrities, but specifically the professional athletes, they rely on their bodies being at peak performance and their health to be optimized for not just their livelihoods, but their families' livelihoods, their fans, their teammates. So they have a lot of people depending on them being at peak performance. And so they do a little bit extra research typically than just the regular consumer. So yeah, they find us because they look for the best. They luckily have access to some of the best doctors and best people to do due diligence and recommend. So yeah, they find us typically, and there's a reason they're not going to their local clinic. But to dive into that, why wouldn't I send a friend or family to most clinics in the U.S.? Let's quickly set aside the bone marrow aspirate and the adipose tissue. As Dr. Halpert already said, that's kind of inferior at this point. There is some medicinal benefit to it. I'm not saying it's a zero, but if I was to spend the money, it's a little bit of a waste of time, and it's an invasive procedure. You have to, cut open your stomach or your butt or whatever and put a cannula in and suck out a bunch of fat.
I heard the bone marrow's
or take a needle and puncture your iliac crest and suck out a bunch of bone marrow. And what we know about stem cells is that they typically hone to the site of inflammation. And when you're creating a bunch of inflammation from the surgical procedure, they're going to go and start healing the trauma that you just created. So for me, those two are just a total waste of time.
Painful and expensive.
Painful, expensive, and not really the degree of efficacy that anybody should be looking for. But, some people there are other barriers where people, maybe they can't travel and get here. I don't know. So I'm not taking anything away from the physicians that are doing it, except because I want to pretend in my mind, I want to hope that they only know or are only using that because that's all available to them. So I think they're doing the right thing in trying to get other options to their patients outside of surgery and drugs.
And for example, you see or you hear that in the States, they are offering umbilical cord cells. They are not cultured. They're not expanded. They were not culturing hypoxic. That actually hypoxic makes them more potent. They just get the umbilical cord or these perinatal tissues. They blend them.
Oof.
And they do enzymatic processes and they just put it back in. That's completely different from what we are doing here. Here we get the cords from a very strict selection process of healthy moms. Then we have our protocols work with a specific part of the umbilical cord, not all the tissue. This is specific part that is the Wharton jelly that is surrounding the vessels of the umbilical cord. And those are the pieces that we then seed to start getting cells growing out from there. And then we expand them and expand it up to millions. So in the States, they're not even getting that amount of number of cells of millions and millions. They're getting a really reduced number of mesenchymal stem cells, but they're getting a mixture of many other cells.
Imagine that. They're basically blending the whole cord, and they're getting all sorts of other cells. But let me take it a step further because, I want to give credit to some of the great laboratories that are in the States, and they're doing the right thing, and they have the right safety processes and protocols. And I think that they're putting together a product that is, maybe better than just the blender. So there's a couple of good ones, but
the best
even
they could do with the regulations.
the best they could do, but even there's some very big problems there that physicians don't even know about, that they're actually doing harm to their patient. So they might be buying these cells from a good laboratory. Let's say it's the best laboratory. Once those cells leave that laboratory, there's logistical issues where they now have to either use a preservative that's somewhat toxic to some humans. So there's a little bit of a danger associated with it. Maybe they're not using that DMSO, and they're sending it to the physician.
The DMSO is a preservative.
It's a
preservative.
cryopreservant. Yeah, but some humans are allergic to that, and it's a danger. And I don't think a lot of physicians actually know that when they're just applying stem cells in their office.
And exosomes.
But the other thing is that once they're shipped across the city or the state or the country, they lose viability, and they lose viability quickly. And if you don't have the scientific prowess on the other end to activate those cells, to make sure that you're giving a live cell, in most cases what we see is that even really good physicians are injecting dead cells. So it's almost nothing.
Waste.
There's still probably some culture media that might have some growth factors to where a patient might have some benefit, but it's just so diminished. And then one more quick thing on the laboratory piece. I was giving an example of the best laboratories. Now that's the 1%. The other laboratories are like any other business on the planet. Their objective is to increase production and reduce cost. That's just any business any business you can think of, but especially a production business. So what they do is that they increase their production by going well into past the passages of where we know that the cells are most effective. So they increase their production, which we know diminishes the efficacy of those cells when they're injected.
And the quality.
The potency.
And then they also try to decrease cost. So then they use, they cut corners. They use cheap culture media. There's many ways you could cut corners. And so they just use cheap products, which are also, not as safe and effective.
They cut corners in quality and safety.
Yeah.
And even if they were trying to do the best, they're regulated to they're not allowed to have a laboratory on site at the clinic, where you guys here.
No, I think they're allowed to do that. They're supposed
not allowed to manipulate
and culture expand.
What you guys here does lab in the facility. So you have I know yesterday when I was on the table and my stem cells were still in the lab.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to wait for it to come out of the lab to me. And so you talk about the degeneration of it when it's getting shipped and stuff like that.
Yeah, we know that.
Walked across the hall.
Yeah, we know within the hour they lose viability. This is
every 10 minutes. The cell starts dying after they're out of the lab. So that's why we have the lab next to the clinic, and that's why we have a very strict process of scheduling the patient and the preparation of the therapy. So when the patient is ready to receive the therapy, the cells are being prepared at that time, and the patient is basically receiving them in less than 10 minutes, because we know that every 10 minutes, a lot of cells, they die.
This is, our vertical integration. We're the only clinic that is completely, fully vertically integrated, and this in the world, yeah, we're the only one in the world, and that allows us to guarantee potency, viability of our cells, and that's because the lab is completely integrated into our company, into our clinic.
It was one of the things that really when I interviewed, and I have some on the Patreon. If you guys are Patreon members, and we have on the Patreon, I actually interview I forget what her position is, but she's the head of the laboratory.
Dr. Quintero.
Yeah. And so I really broke down the process, what's happening in the lab, the viability of it and the potency of it, and how, because one of the things that the FDA regulates in the States, and this goes to my next question, like why? So with all that, why are you guys not doing it in the States? If you're doing it better, then why not? Why are you not?
Oh, we want to. Look, we're an American company founded out of Scottsdale, Arizona, and our goal is to help as many people as possible. And we're a global company, so we have patients from Dubai and Australia and England and all over the world. But we're an American company, and we want to move back home and start treating some Americans because we are a very unhealthy culture. And we need it.
A higher patient base.
Yeah, we need it. We need a lot of help. We need more help than Colombians, that's for sure. Colombia is an incredibly healthy community. But no, so why aren't we there? We're not there because we weren't we weren't willing to cut corners. We weren't willing to break the law. And quite honestly, everybody that is practicing at this level, well, there's not many, but they're breaking the law. They're breaking the regulation that has been set forth for the application of stem cell therapy. So, eventually we think with RFK, I just got a text actually from the head scientist of one of our competitors, and he gave me this article that said that Bobby Kennedy is really pushing for deregulation or de-enforcement of stem cell therapy in the U.S.
So the regulations that's currently on the books by the FDA, the primary thing it limits is the multiplication of cells, correct?
Yeah, there's a Health and Human Services Code. I think it's Part 1271 that regulates tissue and tissue-based products. And so there's a couple of issues with it. Well, one of them is the manipulation that you talked about. There's another one that does not define the word minimal, where it says you can minimally manipulate. And without defining that word, we don't know what minimal is. We know that we go well past what minimal might be.
Yeah.
But there's another provision in there where you're supposed to be implanting that within the same surgical procedure, which we also wouldn't be able to do with our type of treatment. So there's a whole mishmash of issues that need to be adjusted. But we've really set ourselves up as the global standard where we want to teach other clinicians how to do it and how to do it right.
One of the things that is a big topic in American culture across the spectrum, particularly in the medical, is the conspiracy of the FDA working with lobbyists and big pharma and big insurance companies to prevent medical protocols. That would be preventative health, like you spoke about, actually healing people versus long-term treatment of people, because there's so much money to be made. I'll give you an example. I had a crash skydiving last year. I tore my ACL and MCL pretty bad. I went to two doctors, and both doctors said I would have to have ACL replacement in surgery on my MCL. And then I went to a third doctor and told him about BioXcellerator, and he is the head orthopedic physician for the Houston Astros. He's like, if you could go down there, why not try it? And so I called you and got you the images, and I came down and my knee feels 100% on jiu-jitsu, on the mats. I'm working my takedowns again. And so how that ties into conspiracy is I just cost the orthopedic industry money by coming down here.
Yeah.
And so on a larger scale, let's billions of dollars. And so is these protocols and this treatment a threat to industry, to orthopedic industry, other things that FDA would keep this regulated because of lobbying?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the thing is that we think it's a big compliment to orthopedists because we can help the efficacy of their surgeries. And the truth is there's a lot of people that just need surgery. This does not work for everybody. There's injuries that are way too severe, and we're going to deny a lot of patients and say, no, you need to go get surgery.
Well, I want to interrupt you because I got a compliment for you. I have a really good friend. His name's James Ridgway, jiu-jitsu guy. He had some major hip issue, and he actually went through the protocols with you guys, sent all his labs here, and he paid the full price. I think he paid like $20,000 to you guys, and which was a lot of money for him, but it was worth it because it's his health. He's a martial artist. He's a dad. He was worth it for his health. He sent another round of images to you guys. You guys looked at it and said, you're not a candidate, and gave him his money back. And that just spoke so much to the integrity behind you, your company. I think I wrote you. I was like, man, you're a good dude. Because most people in business won't do that because they're like, oh, yep, you came out, you tried it, it didn't work. You know.
Yeah, I dare you to find another clinic that does that.
Yeah, you basically gave some money back and told them to go get surgery.
Yeah.
Like him, we have many patients, and actually, I remember this patient. He's from the medical field in Canada, so he knows about the health system. So he came to us, and he had a disc issue, and the doctor in the state in Canada told him like, you need surgery. Then he came to us and asked us, and we said like, you need surgery, go and get surgery. We can treat you after, we can help you recover after, we can improve your tissues and your scar tissue and your pain after surgery. But yeah, you need surgery. So he went to another company and they told him, yeah, stem cells can fix you all. So then he came back and he's like, whoa, you were two more that said yes to him and that accepted
He went to
him.
two other companies that accepted it.
And then he came back and he's like, wow, you are the only one that have really told me that I needed surgery. So he got surgery and then he came after the surgery and then we applied the stem cells.
So it's not or it's not. Sometimes it's an
and.
surgery. It's an and. Yeah, you could add this to your surgery.
Yeah.
Complements. It can complement your surgery. Sometimes we can prevent a surgery. Sometimes patients really need the surgery. And for sure, the combination actually is very good. After surgery, stem cells.
We have a lot of professional athletes that come in that they have acute injuries that they have to have surgery for, but they come in after and do stem cell therapy, and it helps them recover dramatically faster.
Their healing.
Dramatically faster.
Yeah. And stronger, probably.
People, like I'm talking about guys, very notable people in the NFL that are, you see them on the injury reserve and the team and everybody is saying, nope, they're not going to be back this season. And then all of a sudden they're back after, 6-8 weeks.
Last time I was here, there was an NFL player and I was sitting down, we were waiting and I was talking to him and I'm like, so did your whole team come down here? He's like, no. He's like, none of them know and I won't tell them because he's like, my position's super competitive. So I want that competitive edge. So it's his little secret.
Totally. We have a lot of guys like that. Like we have some guys that are like, they're out there on social media talking about BioXcellerator and we love you for that. We need that, guys. Thank you. But most of them are just kind of quiet and they're like, no, it's a competitive advantage that I have. Secret, yeah. Same thing with our UFC fighters. A lot of them are they use it as a secret weapon before their camp. Yeah. But bro, we got to get back into the conspiracy because I love that shit.
I don't want to get off.
No, let's go. Come on. No, but back to your point, it is going to dent the pipeline of orthopedists, but not nearly as much, I think, as the pharmaceutical industry. And one of the things that I really love and am really excited about for Americans is the mindset shift of getting into more preventative health, more proactive, more precise, but also shifting from what your traditional doctors are telling you. Surgery and drugs are not always the first option. I'm not saying they're not necessary, but you should be able to try alternative therapies and regenerative medicine first, and then flip it over to surgery and drugs. Because there might, regenerative medicine is medicine. It doesn't work 100% of the time, but you should have that option. So, I'm glad to see that Americans are shifting into that mindset. But the truth is that our business, our industry is being dramatically slowed down by lobbyists that are making hundreds of millions of dollars to lobby against regenerative medicine.
There's a threat.
It is a threat. We will dent the pipeline of pharmaceutical companies. When we can prescribe lifestyle change, nutrition, exercise, and stem cells and alleviate diabetes type 2 in a lot of cases, well, that's a lot of insulin that's not being prescribed anymore. And we can make 177 examples of that because those are that's the conditions that we treat to a very high level, and we treat dozens of others. But there's a lot of concern for the biggest industries in the world that we might dent their pipeline. So of course, there's trying
by the insurance companies. I mean, to me, it seemed like the insurance company would favor something.
This one, I understand because they actually control medicine almost more than pharmaceutical companies, at least in America.
This is a rebate system, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
You have the rebate system. You have the the kind of the middlemen, but they're telling doctors how they can treat patients. It's not really a doctor-patient relationship as much as it should be in the U.S. It's more what the doctor is allowed to do based on the patient's insurance. For me, insurance companies, actually, if they understood this, they would probably make more money because they would alleviate
saving a lot of
saving so much money,
a lot of money,
and that would help us bring our costs down. It's if you're delivering the best stem cell therapy, the highest quality, the safest, the most effective therapies, it's very expensive to deliver. As an entrepreneur, business owner, I want to. One of my moonshot goals is to get the price down and to deliver this to the masses, as many people as possible.
Can you talk a little bit about price? I mean,
yeah, our average is right around 25,000. But to dig into that doesn't mean just one orthopedic issue. That means full body, big
dorsal shop to some people. But when you really think about it and actually you pause, you think, man, I can't afford that. And it's almost like you can't not afford it, right?
The lady that you just saw crying, and when you walked away, she started crying a little bit, but
she's been to other clinics and everything, and was working.
Yeah, she went to other clinics, and they don't specialize in spine and disc like we do, and for a whole host of other reasons, she started coming here. But mostly it was results. But the point that is relevant to this is that she started crying because she said, it's expensive, and I'm not rich, but I prioritize my health. What's more important? If you don't have your health, you have nothing.
Quality.
I don't buy another car this year or go on a vacation, but I have my health. That's better than anything you could ever wish for.
Yeah, when you're not sick, then those
you don't think about it.
Yeah, you don't think about once you get sick, then you'll spend anything to get.
Yeah, exactly? You have 1,000 dreams or 1,000 wants when you're healthy. When you're unhealthy, you have one. You have one wish.
Healthy, yeah. And that clearly that's her, and she's been here 3 times. I heard her saying she's been here 3 times.
Yeah.
What are some other obstacles in DC? I say DC because it's our nation's capital, is where all the regulations are put in by the FDA. The lobbying takes place. What are some other obstacles that you feel like BioXcellerator and other stem cell companies that are abroad have to overcome to get this treatment available in the States?
I think it's lack of education. It's a lot of our politicians are so busy with their own constituents and their own interests, I guess, that they've probably just heard the news media and they think, oh, stem cells, it's controversial, or it's the future of medicine. Maybe their physician told them that it was the future of medicine, but the truth is that the future is now. Yeah. It's happening right now, and we've been doing it for a decade now at our clinic. And so I think it's miseducation, starting with the medical industry, the doctors, but mostly, for sure, the lobbyists. The pharmaceutical companies do not want us to succeed. They're waiting for us, to buy us. Really, that's their model. They're going to buy us and try to put us on a shelf. But specifically in DC, I think things are the tide is changing. It's shifting a little bit with Bobby Kennedy, and his interest in really just getting better educated about what pharmaceuticals do, what vaccines do, what our food system is, what regenerative medicine is. So I hope that shifts, and I hope that sticks around longer than just one term.
For me, is unethical practice.
Oof, yeah.
Say it again.
Unethical practice. Unethical practices. For me, that's a big obstacle, because there's a lot of companies that they're saying that they're selling this and exosomes and stem cells, and they're not really selling what they're saying. So viability,
the treatment, and then they come back and they're going to speak bad about it because
they're not going to see results. So actually, they're ruining the field. They're being irresponsible, unethical, because doctors, when they purchase, they don't even know what they are applying to patients. They don't know viability. They don't know potency. They don't know quality. They don't know if that company was cutting corners or saving up money with not going with the highest quality supplies. So doctors don't know what they are applying. And I know of companies that are selling exosomes when they're not, or that are saying that are selling X number of millions of cells when they're not. So they're actually lying and stealing to the doctor, and then the doctor to the patient, because the patient is trusting what these companies are saying. And how can he verify that in a doctor's office? So then is the doctor that is applying these therapies to the patient. The patient is not going to see any type of result. It's going to come back and be upset with the doctor. And then the field is going to get ruined, because then they're going to go and say, this doesn't work. And yes, it works. It works for specific things. It's not a magical cure that fix all. It's not that. And with that, we have to be also very honest. So for me, is that ethical part that is a big obstacle from these companies, but also from doctors that are being unethical, saying that they can cure all, fix all, because it's just not true. It's creating false expectations in patients that are really wanting to live without pain and that are paying a lot of money and that they're not seeing any result because who knows what they are receiving and injecting in their bodies. So it's a big issue.
We're actually starting to see it's almost a shift back into the pharmacological model where you're having these laboratories that are selling stem cells to other physicians, and they're sending out their reps, their pharmaceutical type reps, to these doctors' offices to sell stem cells. These doctors are already in the mindset of trusting pharmaceutical type reps, purchasing, whatever product they purchase and prescribing it within their clinic. And so they're doing the same thing with stem cells. And I hope that a lot of these doctors don't even know that they're actually selling and injecting snake oil, in the sense that these laboratories, even if they send a good product, by the time it gets to the patient, it's not viable. But these laboratories are now set up back into the pharmacological model. So it's now a pharmacy lab. And so you're making a good point. There is a lot of unethical. Yeah. I'm always an optimist, so I want to think that they're not doing it on purpose. They're doing it out of lack of education. But the truth is there could be a lot of money to be made, especially when you're cutting corners.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, that's a big problem with our industry.
Yeah. And then they're like, come back in a second time.
Yeah.
How many times can they get?
Oh, we have people that finally find us. Because you have to dig a little bit deeper to really understand what the best therapies are, the best stem cells, and why you can't get them in the United States. But yeah, we'll have people that have tried stem cells 3-4 times in the US, and then they start digging deeper, like, why didn't this work? Oh, okay, well, now I'm going to go get the real stem cells.
So one of the things you guys do here that I'm so impressed by is that you guys actually have a research team on site.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a big.
We have a research center and innovation. It's run by 8 epidemiologists from different fields.
You said 8 what?
8 epidemiologists.
Okay. What is epidemiologist?
Epidemiologist is when you study the career of knowing how to do research, science, creation of protocols, understanding data statistics, data analysis. So it's basically the people that are behind the clinical trials and the studies. So we also have a research group, and we are certified in good clinical practice. So we are doing a lot of research. We have 6 observational studies going on in disc, knee, shoulder, spinal cord, and others. We collect a lot of data. I don't think that anyone has the amount of data that we have that shows the safety and the effectiveness. So we are very data-driven, science-driven. All of our protocols are based in evidence-based medicine. When we decide to treat a condition or to create a new protocol or to open a new specialty, we do a lot of research. It is a process of probably 6 to 8 months to be able to know if we can treat that condition, if there's evidence enough to support safety and efficacy. And we base our protocols and the patients that we're treating and the patients that we are accepting and the specialties that we're opening is on what is supported already by evidence. The recent specialty that we open is ear, mouth, and throat, because there's a lot of evidence coming out showing that it's very good result for vertigo, tinnitus, and hear loss. And also we are expanding to gynecology and neurology. So we're doing more invasive procedures that we're capable to go very invasive because of the health system in Medellín that is very robust. And we have a lot of specialties and a lot of technology. So we can go intravariant, intrauterus, intravaginal, intraprostatic, intratesticular. So we're treating a lot of conditions in women and in men with regenerative medicine. So it's very interesting what is happening in this field, the growth and the expansion.
Are you guys sharing the research?
Yes, we have been in several conferences, ISCT, the Europe Association. We have many publications in good, very good journals. We have given talks in this conference. We have presented many posters. So we're always showing our results in our data.
With the industry.
We're very active. We're very scientific active.
Yeah, I got this. I spent some time back there my last trip, and I was very impressed by it. And from what I understood, there's no other clinic that's doing that.
There's no one that has a research center, a research group that has a clinic and that has the lab.
Yeah.
No one.
Yeah, we're completely fully integrated, and we think that it's so important because we have a relationship with the patient from the very beginning, and we have the number one goal of safety and efficacy, and we can actually help, get close to guaranteeing, for sure, safety, potency, and viability. But, other clinics, when you have middlemen, when you're really just a broker, a stem cell broker, you can't guarantee any part of the process. The part that...
Right, because you don't know.
You don't know.
Track the results. Yeah. We track the results.
You don't even have the means to be able to test it if you wanted to. I mean, and, come a world that always says trust but verify.
Yeah.
Well, you can trust, but you don't. The doctors don't even have the ability to verify.
Yeah. Here we verify all.
We have a proven product.
And the research piece is, I want to highlight this, is that, it costs a heck of a lot of time and money and effort to do that. And it's important to the patient. If I was a consumer, I would be looking for that. And most consumers don't know why. But the thing is that we are pioneering a field. This is a new industry. And so things are changing rapidly. And, we're continuously having to update protocols for the most safe and efficacious treatment. But it's also important to work with other global leaders, so we're able to work with other hospitals or universities or other clinicians that have pioneered a protocol of their own that is the top in the world. And if you don't have access to that and you're just, I kind of joke and say spraying and praying, but that's what a lot of these other clinicians, middlemen, are doing. They're buying stem cells and they're spraying it and just praying that it works. And that's not a scientific approach.
Right. With hope is not a strategy.
Yeah.
Just heard that on the new movie F1. He said,
"Oh yeah,
hope is not a strategy."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I haven't seen that yet. I heard it's a good movie.
Good. Yeah, really good.
Well, we're the F1 of stem cell.
I agree. I would agree. So there's tons of testimonials you have to have, but you have to have a favorite. What's or maybe you have many favorites, but can you share one just profound testimonial?
I usually talk about Dustin Bunch, and I'm happy to talk about that because
it's an incredible story, and I've seen that one firsthand.
He's a beautiful human to start. He was a California firefighter that was at Lake Havasu on July 4th weekend, like he was for 20 years with his family. He was with his wife and his newborn, and
4th of July.
4th of July, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he was at Lake Havasu, and this year the lake was low, and he dove in where he did every year, and this time he had a spinal cord injury and he almost drowned. Luckily, he had other friends and firefighter buddies that they saved his life. They resuscitated him and they air evac'd him out. And so his life was spared, but he was a quadriplegic. And so he was a UFC fan, and he saw that Matt Hughes came to us, and Matt Hughes, had another horrific injury that, saw some pretty decent results with. So Matt recommended that Dustin come here, and Dustin was lucky enough to be one of the patients that came to us pretty quickly. A lot of times with spinal cord injury patients, they're dealing with so much new trauma and way of life that they don't have time, I think, to search out stem cells right away.
They try everything traditional first.
And they're getting, bad recommendations from their doctors. Most of the doctors that are treating spinal cord injury patients say you're doomed to be in that bed for the rest of your life.
That's what Dustin had told me. You're going to be a paraplegic.
Yeah.
Driving your wheelchair with your mouth the rest of your life.
Yeah. I mean, odds are that's probably true. So we understand why physicians are saying that. But, in my mind, I'm not a doctor. I'm a business guy. And so, I say shame on them, for not having at least some level of hope or optimism and pointing them in a direction where they might get some hope. But anyways, Dustin got to us pretty quickly, and his expectation was just, it was pretty low actually, and I asked him, I said, what do you expect to see out of this? What have our doctors told you? And he said, no, they're very realistic. Here's what they've told me. But he said, I don't care about any of that. I just want a little bit of dignity in my life, Eric. I want to not have to ask my wife to take me to the bathroom if possible. And I don't want to have to beg whoever's around me to give me a drink of water when I'm thirsty.
And the daughter.
And and I want to be able to hold my newborn again. And so, luckily all of those things are true and so much more because of Dustin's mindset and his hard work and the physical therapy that he does and also stem cell therapy. So that's one of my favorites. There's another cool one. I'll keep it quick, but Ryan Curtis came to us. He's a MMA fighter. I think he was in the same gym as Conor McGregor and got hurt in a jiu-jitsu just sparring session. And he was left paralyzed also. And his doctors told him he was going to be bedridden or wheelchair ridden forever. And just, to keep the story quick, he has some of the best results we've ever seen. He's running again. Now, you can tell that he's had an injury and he's not out there running a marathon and he's not going to win a race, but he's running. So he's not just walking. He's not just stabilized. He doesn't just have control of his bowels and bladder again. He doesn't just have his arms.
Yeah.
He's running.
He's not bedridden either.
No.
That was with Dustin. I mean, Dustin was like, I was a paraplegic in a wheelchair until it was
Quadriplegic.
Quadriplegic. And he's like, I can take it. I can feed myself. I can wipe my butt.
Yeah.
I can push my wheelchair with my hands now.
Yeah.
I can hold my daughter and I can shake your hand.
Exactly.
Yes.
So imagine, our cells can do that type of result for the worst injuries on the planet. So people with orthopedic issues and other things are just easy for us at this point.
What about like some of these other neurological autism, muscular dystrophy, like all these other things?
Carol, you should take that because you've pioneered the autism space and we love it.
We have a very aggressive protocol for autism. And I remember this specific case of this kid and his mom that they went somewhere else and they didn't see results. Then they came to us. We go a little bit more invasive and aggressive with treatment. And it is a case that makes me really happy because it's seeing amazing results, amazing transformation on this kid. And the mom telling us that he's being able to talk, to have conversations, to have, attention, visual contact, interactions, and he's becoming more social. So each time she let us know the progress that this kid is doing, and it's such an amazing story. It's
what is happening so you're injecting stem cell?
So
intravenously,
we apply intravenous and intrathecal, and we have a protocol of 2 times.
What's intrathecal mean?
Intrathecal means that we are applying the stem cells directly into the spine, to the spinal fluid. So they are going into the brain.
This is what I got.
You got intrathecal.
Okay.
So intrathecal is just putting it in the spinal fluid that is going to be able to go to the brain. And because when we apply stem cells IV, they don't cross the
blood-brain barrier.
And when it's intrathecal, it's directly to the brain. So the combination of IV and intrathecal, working on the systemic inflammation, but also working in the neuroinflammation is where we're seeing very good results. We are writing down a report that we're going to be publishing, 5 kids that have had amazing results. So we're going to be publishing that data soon, probably this year.
I know the case that she's talking about, and I'm going to go a little bit deeper on something that it gets even conspiratorial again. But this particular case, the mom, they actually went to a really good clinic and they did see some results. So it wasn't no results, but she came, she got recommended to come here and she saw much, much better results because we go more invasive than any other clinic. This isn't the sales pitch. The piece that I'm getting to is that she went and posted that on the autism Facebook group that she's on, where she's like, hey, the rest of the moms, I know a lot of us go to this other clinic and they're great. And we saw, little Johnny, that's not his real name, but we saw little Johnny, get good results, but BioXcellerator, here's what they do. Here's what's different. We're actually seeing quicker, better, faster results. And they do, XYZ more. Whatever she said on her Facebook post.
No, it was not even in the group of autism families.
Autism group, yeah. They removed it all because that group is owned by one of our competitors. And so, there's just little things like that that just drive me crazy about this industry.
And against why you're just in the pursuit to help people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's criminal. Like even social media platforms like Meta, like Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and Google, they do not allow us as a stem cell company to promote stem cell therapy.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to. We're just trying. We're a business trying to help our community, and we're not allowed to.
Yeah, I'm sure this will be restricted on YouTube. I looked at you guys' YouTube page and
it's shadow banned.
Just definitely.
Yeah. Our YouTube channel got shadow banned years ago.
Yeah.
We're helping too many people.
Well, you're impacting somebody's bottom line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're doing it in the pursuit to do good and help people, and that's and that's obviously that's why I've locked arms with you guys.
Yeah, in the end we'll win because of that.
Yeah, and we're gonna get to help a lot of people. So, and one of the things for me is I care about the veteran community, first responder community, and so many military veterans that have been injured in combat, and they don't have this type of treatment available at the VA. I just met with Secretary Doug Collins. A few episodes ago, I spoke with him, and this is one of the things I brought up. Is like the VA needs to be looking at this, and even lobbying. The VA needs to be lobbying to change the regulations, because there's no reason like somebody with spinal cord injury and already kind of doomed to living in a bed or a wheelchair the rest of life. Why not?
Yeah.
Even if you don't agree with the protocols, like what do you have to lose besides providing this for them, knowing that there's case studies of success? And like you said, it's evidence-based.
It's evidence-based.
Let's see evidence-based. It's evidence-based. And so I have worked really hard in partnership with you to start getting veterans out here, even if we have to do it through, the philanthropy efforts of BioXcellerator, which you guys have been extremely generous. And I thank you for that on behalf of the veteran community, but also through the philanthropic world of people, you and I won't say all the details yet, but plan on starting a 501c3 effort to get some more veterans here that need it. Man, so many amazing guys that have just done so much for in the fight for freedom, not just for America, but for people around the world. And they deserve the best treatment that they could get. Yeah,
it's such an underserved community. It's one of the things that as a company, we've kept pretty close and near and dear to our heart, and we've put a lot of resources into helping the veteran community, not just in the U.S., all over the world. We've done those same efforts in Australia, New Zealand, all over the place, but mostly focusing on the U.S. because it is such an underserved community. But the real issue is that there's also no options for some of the things that veterans are suffering from. There are things like Leroy Torres, who is exposed to toxic burn pits. The vets that are suffering from CTE. There are really no options or very little options where stem cell is really one of the only options. So, my conversation with somebody at the VA would say, okay, fine. There's surgery for orthopedic issues, but there are a lot of things that vets are suffering from that have no other option. So why don't you let us help them? Please let us try.
Yeah, 100%. You got my word. I'm going to keep pushing that. Like I said, working with Doug Collins, his heart. I asked him a question on the show, like, "Hey, what do you want your legacy to be?" And he's like, he got emotional. He's like, "I just want to make a difference," and I think he really cares.
Yeah.
And so, somebody, I definitely want to make sure you meet.
Yeah, please. We would.
Secretary of the VA. Where do you? So many things like AI, like technology is like moving, in AI like makes everything expedited. So I think things are going to move fast in this field. Where do you guys see this in 5 to 10 years?
I've been talking about this because we're getting approached by a lot of investors at this point because, our goal is to come back to the United States and be able to treat as many Americans as possible. And, when we're talking to analysts about this as an investment, there's not an analyst on the planet right now that won't tell you that AI is the biggest investment on the planet and the future of almost every market. There's got to be an AI component to most businesses. But there's also not an analyst on the planet that won't tell you that regenerative medicine is going in that same direction. And BioXcellerator in general, we're kind of at an intersection point in between those two things because number one, we've pioneered regenerative medicine. We're not the only, but we are certainly the authority. And we're also collecting data, and we're also starting to implement systems, IT systems with AI, so that we can take some of that data. For one, on the lower end, just answer patients' questions pretty easily and effectively. But then, I think that with our real world data that Dr. Halpert points out, we have more of than anybody in the world, we're hopefully going to work with some other really good providers and take that data with AI and be able to, expand our treatment options, but also, increase efficacy for our patients. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I think that with data is the way that you open all those pathways that have a lot of obstacles with regulatory entities.
The thing with AI too that's really interesting is that it's helping the advanced analytics early on. It's helping diagnose patients faster and more accurately. Yeah. Unfortunately, medical malpractice is a leading cause of death for Americans, not globally, but some of that is misdiagnosis and overprescription and, surgeries in the wrong places. But I think AI is going to help solve a lot of those problems.
As a patient coming here, there's a lot of evaluations before you start your treatment. You guys are looking at a lot of things. You're looking at medical background, medications you're on, anything you're taking, drawing blood. What are some of the things you guys are looking for, I guess more accurately, what are some things that would disqualify someone? Like, I know cancer might be one, right? Like if someone is stage 4 cancer, they're not a candidate.
I'll take the business approach and tell you something that drives me freaking crazy as a CEO is that we lose a lot of business to other competitors, because we're typically, look, this is, as we mentioned before, this is not an inexpensive treatment. I want to get the cost down. I promise you at some point we will, but that's going to come with volume. But so I guess the point I'm making is that it's very expensive, so it brings a certain type of clientele, typically, somebody that's either high net worth or really in the mindset of being able to find the money to prioritize their health. And these are usually busy people also. So we get these busy people that see our process and they go, yeah, but the other place will take me. They already approved me and I didn't have to do any of this stuff. And we have to say, sorry, go to the other place because we need to evaluate your case. We need to really understand who you are, what your medical conditions are. And most importantly for the industry, whether or not you're a real candidate. Yeah. We're not just going to give this to you and have you expect a result that we don't think you're going to get. So that's something that drives us crazy about the onboarding process here. Ours is, very robust, and we're a real, medical company. We're the authorities. That's why we've earned that title.
Well, it does come with a concierge treatment. Everything's like, I had the same compliment that this lady out here just had. She's like, and she went to Panama and she said, I never even talked to a doctor there. It was like super small. Like, it would just go there, get the treatment and go out. But like you walk in here, everybody knows. I think you guys probably show a picture of the patients because everybody.
We haven't started doing that yet.
We do.
Oh, you do? Oh, okay, good.
Because I walk in, everybody's like, hi, Chad. And I'm like, these people.
All of us, we studied the faces of our patients before they come.
Yeah, so it's like really welcome in. And
that's a secret. Don't tell the other.
then I get time with the doctors. You get like.
Real time.
Hours with the doctors, not like 5 minutes, and it's like you get.
Chad, the week before, we start studying the patients that are going to come the next week in all the medical background, history, medical records, images of all the specialties or procedures they're going to get. We verify all to be sure that we are completely safe and that there's not going to be any issue. So we prepare and study before the patient comes. And that is all the team is involved in, including a picture.
Yeah, you feel it, and it feels special. It feels super concierge, and it feels like people care, and they're all committed.
But we
do. You guys do, but it feels like everyone's committed to the mission.
Yeah.
Yes. But back to that question is who's not a candidate? Like medically, cancer's one, right?
Patient with cancer, active cancer, or patients that are still not 5 years free of cancer, not because the stem cells can make the cancer grow or that it comes back, because actually it seems that the stem cells, the Wharton jelly, the umbilical ones, the umbilical cord cells that we use, they actually are showing that they have anti-cancer properties. But the recommendation in the world is that since it's not proven yet, we decide to stay away just for safety. So it's not proven that it can make cancer grow. It's actually showing that it's anti-cancer properties, but until we don't have more stronger evidence.
I hate to say that this
Somebody
is
can't do a waiver and say, hey, like, it's on me.
They tell us, I'll sign whatever, and we go, no, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I think some of that is still from the back in the early 2000s when George Bush did this big speech on embryonic stem cells and shutting down research and how unethical.
It's such a horrible job.
Yeah, he did that.
But I think that that's still a misnomer that's perpetuated about the cancer
I used
piece.
to like him.
Yeah.
Now I despise him. Not that I don't like him. I was a George Bush fan when I was serving.
Yeah.
And now I'm so disappointed.
Really?
I've never been so disappointed.
Yeah.
And the other patients are the patients that are just not good candidates because we are not expecting to see a result. So we're just not going to get the money of the patient. We want to protect the field. We want to be honest and transparent and ethical with patients. So those are the other patients that probably would say like, no, there's not enough evidence for us to say that you can expect a result.
You know what else? Let me take this a step further, because one of the things we're seeing in the industry, but even in the United States, is that some clinicians are starting to apply IV therapy. And we know that there's an incredible medicinal benefit of upregulating or downregulating your immune system and stimulating repair, and the anti-inflammatory response from the IV. So we know that the benefits are incredible, and we recommend it to all of our patients.
You say
Basically,
therapy, you mean IV stem cells?
IV stem cells.
Yeah, okay.
But we're starting to see this be applied in the United States and kind of in a haphazard way, where we're seeing people doing it in hotel rooms, and we're seeing people that are not really being studied from their medical conditions. And the truth is that it's a very dangerous procedure for the wrong person. And there are going to be people that get hurt. I mean, this is a big high dose stem cell that goes through your lungs, and a lot of stem cells get trapped in your lungs. And so there's just some industry shenanigans.
They're taking a big,
you know?
big risk. Be super irresponsible.
Be safe. Come by BioXcellerator. Enjoy Medellín, your city. Serve the people, and do it safe.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of bottom line.
Yeah.
And
you were talking about the concierge and safety also. The concierge before, safety now. We've also, put this clinic for the people that are still afraid of the safety issue. For one, you don't have to be, but we've put this clinic in a medical tourism campus where you never have to leave the roof. We've got a nice hotel.
Oh, yeah.
Nice hotel, restaurants, mall, our clinic, hundreds of specialists if you want to get, dental work done or whatever. So
Well, pick up. You guys pick up from the airport. And,
yeah.
It's a great experience. Trust me.
Except for that customs line.
Except I wanted to bring it up because hopefully by the time this comes out and people come, we get it solved.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
can happen that fast, but yeah, that is the one drawback is the customs line is pretty long.
Yeah, if you get on that night flight and you get caught behind the second or third flight, it's a long line.
Yeah. And there's no concierge service at customs.
No, we're working on it. Yet we're working on it.
Yeah, Joey's got it. Yes, Joey.
Yes.
Jeremy made it adamant.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is for both of you guys. I mean, you're a doctor and committed to healing people. You're a business guy, but committed to the health of people. What do you guys in the work you do here is probably your life work? What do you guys want your legacies to be, and the mark you guys want to leave?
I just want to be able to accomplish what my dad accomplished, because now, for example, alternative medicine is covered by insurance, and it's approved by INVIMA, and it's recognized, and everyone is having access to it. And
Here
it's
in
just
Colombia.
here in Colombia. So insurance companies covers alternative medicine, and they pay for them. So it's in the system. And I hope that I'm able to achieve the same, to be able to put regenerative medicine in the system so that we can help more people and make it more accessible, available, and that people can afford it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely echo the part about having this be affordable and accessible to as many people as possible. But I'm a business guy that, went from restaurants to real estate to regenerative medicine. And it's been the blessing of my life to be in a business that is just really helping our community. And every day, you saw what happens in the hall. When I walk through the hall and somebody grabs me and says, "Hey, I've been here. This is my third time. Here's why. I had great results the first time. I had another injury, whatever." But they start crying or sharing their family story with me. And so I've already actually outlived, what I was hoping to accomplish. But we really want to be considered the Mayo Clinic of regenerative medicine. And that's what I'd like to see, the legacy of BioXcellerator.
Yeah. The show is the Resilience Show, and it's in the title. There's a story behind the logo, and one of the things that everybody gets a customized logo when they come to the studio. But since I'm here, that's just our logo. But the word resilient, means a lot to the people who listen to the show because they're hearing so many stories of resiliency. We heard you gave some testimony of a resilient story in Destin, and some other people that have come through here. But what is to you individually? What does the word resilience mean to you?
I'll take it as I'm looking back just a short amount of time into my endeavors starting this company, and I got on the phone with investors and said, "Hey, I'm not a doctor and I'm not a scientist, and we're going to open up a clinic in one of the most dangerous cities in the world, and it's very expensive, and it's not covered by insurance, and it's experimental, and most physicians don't believe in it." And I went through all of those downfalls. But then it took a certain level of resiliency as an entrepreneur in continuing to move forward in the face of adversity. That's life in general. And so, that's just one example of many in this business alone. We have to be resilient to just get through some of the days because, most people are against us. So resiliency for me is just facing adversity and getting up and pushing on.
Yeah. And then you're not the only beneficiary, clearly. So many people from this treatment, from the success here.
Yeah.
Your success as an entrepreneur are going to benefit.
Yeah.
So it has an exponential impact in the world around you.
Completely. Yeah. It's been the blessing of my life to really help other people.
What about you, the resiliency? What's it mean?
Well, it means that, but I'm going to put it from the medical side. When I came and started the clinic from zero, I started looking for specialists that wanted to work with us. And all my colleagues and a lot of specialists say like, "No way, that's not true. That's a lie. That doesn't work. That doesn't exist. What are you talking about?" So I got a lot of doors closed. They closed me a lot of doors, colleagues, clinics, hospitals, universities, ethics committees, and I just say continue with the list. And we just didn't quit. I didn't quit. And right now everything has changed where actually the universities are coming to us, the specialists are coming to us. And there's something going on very interesting that I love it, is that the universities are telling us, "Can you please develop a program, an educational program to the university about regenerative medicine?" And we said yes. So
of course, yeah.
that's something that we're going to start working on, is educating the doctors, the specialists, training them, and create in Colombia the specialty of regenerative medicine. So it's not quitting, and it's being able to take it all and be able to get up again, even that you find so many obstacles. And it's not only this, it's also the unethical people, the competitors that are really attacking us. But I said that if they are attacking us, it's because for sure we're doing so much good.
Yeah.
That's why we're calling so much of attention.
Yeah.
But it consumes your energy. Like we should be focused on innovating and creating new products and getting more data and doing more research. But then we have to get distracted with all the obstacles that we find on the way that just consumes time, energy, and concentration and money.
Yes.
I don't know why you can just make it simple, make it easier. Like why we have to make it so difficult?
Had somebody told me what obstacles we were going to overcome to start this business, I don't know if I would have been so resilient in my decision up front.
Sometimes it's good not to know.
Yeah.
It's better not to know. It's better not to know. Just go in, put your head down, and move forward.
Yeah, I thought, man, we're doing so much good for the community. This is going to be easy. People are going to rally around us. They're going to love us. And no, it's not that.
And Theodore Roosevelt said in a quote that I won't even try to admit, but basically, if you have enemies, it's good.
It's good.
It means you're doing something important.
Yeah.
And
we're doing a change.
Yes. Yeah.
And people are very resistant to change. So we're doing something good.
Yeah. And for me, like these topics on this show about resilience, sometimes resilience is about hearing the show's about hearing a story of triumph, somebody that fell on their face or had an extreme difficulty in their life and overcame it. But I think also there's a resilience comes in being informed and being educated, and that's why I wanted to do this episode, just to help bring information and inform people, because there's so many people that are struggling with mental health, physical health, all these different things. They feel like pain, chronic pain, and they don't feel like there's hope anywhere. They've tried everything, and if we could help, maybe they come to BioXcellerator, maybe they don't, but if we could help educate them to let them know that then this is important.
We see resilience in our clinic every day, and because a lot of our patients are in chronic pain, or they've suffered the worst injuries on the planet, like traumatic brain injury or spinal cord injury. These are people that are able-bodied, then all of a sudden
they teach us a lot.
So resilience.
Spinal cord injury patients, ouch.
Yeah.
Wow, they teach us a lot.
Yeah, because and their families, their families,
what they go through, how their life changed in an instant. It's just crazy.
Spend a day with a spinal cord injury patient and you'll never think that your life is bad. The things that you bitch about afterwards,
everything is good. Yeah.
You start checking yourself. Wait a minute. What am I complaining about? Yeah.
One last question. This was more for fun. Everybody's wondering. I could probably answer better than you guys, but does it hurt?
Oh, I mean, yes and no. Okay, so you could probably answer it better than everybody.
Because I'm sitting here in pain right now.
Yeah. We definitely have had, I'm not going to name names, but you see a couple of their dolls up there. We've had a couple of guys down for the count, saying it was the worst pain they've ever been in. But no, these are very non-invasive treatments. The needle poke is nothing. It's easy. It's the aftermath where we're creating inflammation, where you get a lot of stiffness, inflammation, swelling, soreness. So
my shoulder's pretty stiff right now.
Yeah. 24, 48 hours.
The good thing is that it only lasts 24 hours.
Yeah.
After 24 hours, all those symptoms start disappearing and the recovery is very fast. So it's not like after a surgery that you stay 5 days a week. No, this is 24 hours of probably a lot of pain at the beginning and a lot of shitness, but it goes away very fast.
So this is I don't know if this is a rumor or not, but when you get the shots in your joints, you guys allow us to see the patients to see the ultrasound. And so I could see the tendon, I could see the needle going in. Mm-hmm. I guess if you choose to look
if you watch,
right?
I looked away.
Yeah. So I'm watching it, but then I see it poking into the tendon and you feel it. And then there's a moving around. And so I heard the rumor that you guys actually like create a little trauma in that area with the needle to provoke inflammation in the stem cells to go there. Is that true?
It is.
Okay. So that's a little intentional torture. With the purpose.
Yeah.
With a very good purpose.
Yeah.
With a very good purpose. But actually the movement is to release the tissues also, and it's to get to the exact point that we want. In ultrasound, we can be very sure of where we are at by moving so that we can see what's moving in the image so that we can locate the exact point that we want also. So it has many purposes.
And I was very impressed because when the stem cell got in the States was not that precise, but you guys do MRIs. So you look at an MRI image and matching that to the live direction with the ultrasound.
Yes.
So you're getting precise.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're giving away some of the secret sauce, but yeah. No, but look, we have.
So yes, our technique is very important, and our technique is being done by very qualified, amazing specialists from Colombia, very well trained.
Yeah, this is not what you're seeing in the States. In most cases, you're seeing a practitioner that has some experience in some specialty, but they're going outside of their specialty in a big way. So we have orthopedic surgeons, sports medicine doctors, neurosurgeons, everything she listed before.
So I'll jump in with the does it hurt? Yes, it hurts, but
Ask what is the one that hurts the most?
so I think
Imagine what guys think.
my pelvic.
Pelvic?
Oh, really?
Okay.
Pelvic, because I snapped my groin muscle
Oh, yeah.
and that pelvic injury.
Yeah, that sounds like a...
But I think so. I did the cosmetic ones, not because I needed cosmetic, but if I'm here, you guys are offering it. I'm like, yeah, I'll do the little face cosmetic one.
Yeah, that hurts.
That hurt probably the
I think that hurts the worst.
worst.
Yeah.
And then everyone knows about this. That comes here knows about this male penis.
Yeah. I heard, my friend told me that the ED shot doesn't hurt at all.
It does. It actually it's painless. It's,
Yeah, I think that one, I think the face hurts worse.
No, the hair.
Or the hair, yeah.
The hair is worse than the penis.
Yeah, there was, and then but you guys don't market the ED shot.
No.
And I think if you marketed the ED shot, you'd have a line from here to.
And they see very good results. And actually, we actually have an observational study. We have data collected of treating ED with amazing results. We actually presented these results in the ISCT, the results in ED.
You guys sell it as an add-on.
Yeah, a lot of...
To a lot of guys, I think that I know a lot of guys that would be like, I broke my neck and I only have money would make my neck better or my penis, and then guys are gonna go the other way.
Totally.
So
We have a lot of guys that do it preventatively, and they like it. Like I said, I've never done it. My friend told me.
well, you guys, I brought it up to say you guys do all kind of stuff. They can do cosmetic side too, and but obviously you're known for the taking care of
the serious stuff.
Serious conditions.
Yeah, but the good news is it's, even though we keep talking about it being expensive, it's really, when you compare apples to apples, it's relatively close to the same price as you're going to pay in the United States.
Yeah.
But it's just light years more advanced.
Yeah. And I mean, to me, I know it's like sticker shock of people here. I don't think that's everybody's in different situations. I think, if you're paying, $20,000 to get your health and your life back and your quality of life back, that's a small investment. There's a lot of things people spend money on that you could probably make some lifestyle adjustments to take care of that. I mean, the way I feel like from it, it's worth every penny. So,
yeah.
I mean, I know your goal is to get it cheaper and down, but I think it's worth every penny. I mean,
yeah.
And Eric was saying 2025 is because many of our patients get a lot of shots, gets a lot of treatments, but when they only get one knee or when they're only treating one specific area, it's not that expensive.
Oh yeah, we'll beat the price of anybody if you're just doing one joint. But the thing is once you're down here, once you understand the benefit of these cells versus most other companies, then they end up adding on everything. They say, oh yeah, do the face and hair, do the IV, do it all.
Yeah.
And that's where it turns into a $25,000 treatment.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, anything else that we missed?
No.
Yeah.
Well, so much, but
but I really appreciate you guys. I appreciate, one, doing this show, but to just becoming a great friend and the amount of care that you guys have shown me in my personal journey to healing and health, and but also just the amazing team you lead. Yeah, it's incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah, she's done such an amazing job. She's the brilliance. I'm the brawn, I guess, but no, but thank you. You've been such a great advocate for the company, and you've helped a lot of people because of it. You've referred a lot of vets that I think we've helped together, and I know you're going to continue to push.
And I'm super
regenerative
happy
medicine.
about your results with our therapy. That's amazing that we could help you and change your life.
Very, very happy.
Thank you.
I plan on being on those wrestling mats for a long time, and this is one of those things that'll let me keep doing. Not even just sports, like just traveling, speaking, doing all the stuff I do. It's
and thank you for trusting Colombians and trusting Colombia. That's amazing because
I really do love it here. I think it's
we're very good people and very good professionals.
Yeah.
It is a beautiful city. It's one of those cities where it's, you look it up on the internet before you come here and it doesn't do any justice. Once you lay your eyes on it, you're like, wow, this is a magical city.
That's why they're moving here.
Yeah.
They're moving to Colombia.
I only
moving to Medellín
one time, and it was riding in the car with Dr. Karen.
Yeah. It was her driving. The scariest.
That was the only time.
But it was not my fault. It was not my fault. But this guy was mean.
Remember, she was taught that you just run right through red lights. It's okay.
Yeah. She's like, hey, if we get hurt, we just go over to BioXcellerator.
Yeah.
I think so.
I'll give you stem cells.
Yeah. Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in. If you have not done so, like, comment, subscribe, and share this. Also, if you're interested in BioXcellerator, the link will be in the show notes below. And so you could, click on the link, learn more, or just reach out. Eric's a great friend, so we'll put you in touch with the folks here at BioXcellerator and come down to Colombia. If you're not already done so, then join the Patreon. And one of the best things you could do to support the show, you become a Patreon family member. There's so much behind the scenes stuff. In fact, we're going to have some behind the scenes stuff of the lab here at BioXcellerator, where I actually went in the lab and spoke to the head of the lab there and got some of those a little bit deeper in some of those questions answered. So tune in our Patreon to check that out. And I will see you next week. Stay resilient. Hey, what's up, Resilient family? I am so grateful for each of you who tune in every week to hear our episodes. We have such incredible guests and topics that I am passionate about, our team's passionate about, and we could not do it without you. So we're thankful for you. We love you. We appreciate you locking arms with us to be more informed, to become a more resilient community. And I want to invite you to become a tighter part of that community by joining us on Patreon. If you go to our show notes below, you can click the link and get dialed into our Patreon and get extra content weekly. You can join for $15 a month and get behind the scenes footage, get closer access to me. I have monthly Zooms that I'll be doing with some members of the community. And so we'd love to get more involved. Again, go below in the show notes and click the link and join today.